they haven't heard anything.
Angela.
Hey, yeah. So this is just a life update, I guess. I wanted to let you all know that I have a new name and a new gender preference, and explain it just a little bit because this has come to the forefront a lot. And so I thought I would tell you guys first, which is to say the directors. I mean, except for the people closest to me in my life who've known for about a year. So this isn't legal, but I started the process legally to change it. And so my name now that I prefer, that I would like you to call me, if you remember, and no big deal if you don't, just be like, I don't remember, and or I forgot, and move on. But obviously I'm nervous telling you guys because this is a big deal. And also I'm 49, so this is a big deal to change it this late in life. But my name is Essence, and I do prefer the they them pronouns. And again, I'm not really comfortable with apologies, so if you forget, don't worry about it. Just be like, if you're like, Angela this, and then you're like, oh, I forgot, just say whatever and move on, or ask me what it is. It's really not a big deal. It's not that stressful to me. I've known this for a while, so it's not a big deal. But I did want to just, I guess, comment that part of what drove me to say this today, as opposed to, I don't know, a year ago or some other time, is because of the controversies that are coming up, and it's come to a head. So I spent like the last however many days researching like gender and why do people change it and what does it mean and what are the feelings behind the meanings. And so if it's okay, I've written just a little bit. It's like 2 minutes just to explain my feeling on it if you want to hear it. So I'm going to keep going unless you stop me.
No, keep going.
Okay. So when I did the research, I'm really big on like the history of words. That's just something that's always interested me. So of course, words are invented. Every word that we've ever had, as you all know, we were invented, but I looked in particular, and it said that it was actually, they think Homo erectus, an early human species that evolved nearly 2 million years ago in Africa, that invented words. And so we invented words like male and female, and she and her and they and we, and masculine and feminine, and words like non-binary. And I say this because I've spent a lot of time, trying to imagine what the issue is. Like, why do we need non-binary? And so when I first heard the term, it was just a few years ago, and I kind of found it entertaining a little bit. Like, I was intrigued, and I'm like, what? They can't just not go with a gender. And I was like, the audacity of somebody not having a gender. And then, of course, it kind of grows on you, start thinking about it. And it hit me like last year. I think it was my niece's spouse that said that they were non-binary. And I was like, and the more I talked to the spouse, and I married them in Seattle, in officiant. And so I spent a lot of time with them, and it hit me. I was like, I don't feel any particular gender. And I think, and this is what I said to them, this was a few years ago, I said, I think if this had been an option for me when I was young, I would have chose it, because I don't feel any certain, I don't feel feminine, I don't feel masculine. Sometimes I feel one, sometimes I feel the other, but I definitely don't feel a certain thing all the time. And I said, I kind of wish it had been around when I was young, because I would feel like that fits more in line with who I am. And I said to them, I said, but I'm sure as hell not going to change it this late in life. Like, it's too much trouble for me, and it's too much trouble for everybody else around me. So I'm never going to do that. I mean, I honestly say I will never do that. That's too much trouble, and the thought of it scared the, out of me. So, and everybody who knows me knows how much I held back cussing just then, because I do cuss a lot. But okay. So anyway, so that, I just want you to know what's behind it, because I've always kind of wondered what was behind people that did this. But so this thing coming up in the last few days and weeks or whatever has just got me researching it, being like, well, why is it happening? And I really spent, like, last night I really didn't sleep, and I spent most of the night just thinking about it, because I knew I was going to talk to you guys today. And I wanted to really be able to explain the thoughts behind it, but this is what I've come up with. I've realized that, like, the weight there's like this weight of traditions and ideals that go along with being a certain gender, whether it's male or female. You have a huge weight behind it of thousands of years of those genders. Like gender, even the word gender is fairly new, but the male and female terms came about. I think I have that somewhere. It was like, I have it somewhere when those words came out somewhere in here. Oh yeah. In the Middle English between 1150 and 1500 was gender. And then way before that was male and female terms that came out. But since then, they've accumulated all of this weight, like religion and tradition and all kinds of weight with them. And so you can't just shed the weight. Like if I have the word she associated with me, I have all of that weight of all of those years and all those expectations. And yet all of that weight is associated with my female reproductive organ. And in some ways, there's some, obviously there's hormones related and there's some things like that. But generally speaking, it's really arbitrary. It's as arbitrary as like whether your earlobes are connected or not, or you have like, maybe that means like if people said you had to wear hats or beanies because your earlobes are connected, or if you have an any belly button, and so that means you should be the leaders in society. Like it's so arbitrary, but all of this weight is associated with genders. And so I realize I would love to shed all of those years of the made up norms and associated with my reproductive organ. And I don't know any way to do that except to today say, I don't want all that weight and all those norms. I just want to be me. And they then makes the most sense because it's saying I acknowledge and I accept that if you enjoy those norms, that's great. And I celebrate that with you, but I don't like them. They make me feel burdened and I don't know how to get rid of them except to prefer that. And the fact that there's hermaphrodites and other people with both organs, it's like society in general really should have an acceptance of some sort of generic term, whether it's they, them, or some other term, to describe somebody who doesn't want to be associated with all the weight of the genders, because not everyone even has, even if you do it with reproductive organs, it's not proper. And so, if you're just going by definitions of words alone, they should be able to have a term that they identify with without it being associated with their reproductive organ. And so for so many reasons, I just feel like very supportive of this. And I feel I realize that me being me by coming out today and saying I don't feel associated with a certain gender does support that movement of this makes sense logically and it makes sense internally. And so I think that's it. Let me see if I've got anything else. I had to write some notes. I didn't get too off script. I guess that's it. So essence, they, them. If you have any questions, I'd be happy to answer them. Okay, that's all. Did I leave the room in silence?
Thank you. Any
Thanks for
thoughts
listening.
or reasonable space and time? Angela, or Essence, that was courageous, and so we appreciate you.
Thank you. Thanks for saying that.